All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to you, wherever you are in this beautiful world. Welcome to our Thursday morning Inner Circle Live session. I'm your host, Ryan Carthage. We'll be joined shortly by my awesome partners, Mr. Benny Allen and Miss Casey Jackson. Hope everybody's doing well today. We're going to dive in. So as always, let's turn off all distractions, prepare your minds and your bodies to engage as you guys always do. And for the courtesy of everybody on the call, please ensure that your mic is muted if you're not actively asking a question or making a comment. All right. So if you guys could drop me a 1 in the chat if you can hear me okay. Okay, perfect. Made some adjustments to my audio. So got to make sure. All right, so let's dive in. We'll take a quick look at some fundamental things, and then we're going to dive into some charts. We got some action off some of the setups that Benny talked about last night, and got a couple others that we will take a look at. So let's get to it. And here we go. So we have European gas prices rise further. Natural gas prices in Europe have been soaring towards fresh record levels as heat waves across the continent are set to push demand to above normal levels, while historic drought threatens the halt of energy shipments along the Rhine River, on top of supplies from Russia continue to be limited, right? So we'll drop here. Oil prices rose for a second session on Thursday. WTI crude up to $89 a barrel and moving further away from the 6-month lows reached early in the week as falling U.S. crude inventories more than offset the fears of global economic slowdown. The EIA data showed that U.S. crude stockpiles declined by 7.06 million barrels last week, while exports hit a record high and gasoline demand climbed to the highest levels this year. On the supply side, investors balance Russia's gradual increase in output against the ban by European Union on Russian seaborne crude in December and on product imports early next year. The oil market has been under pressure recently amid efforts to revive a 2015 nuclear deal that could boost Iranian oil exports by 2.5 million barrels per day. All right, so got some bouncing back and forth on oil. Oil pushing to the upside currently, and there's a balance that's happening there. Also, due to the rising prices in gasoline, you're also seeing some folks switch over to crude in the European Union as well. So there's a balance there of the supply and demand that we're currently seeing. So we'll continue to play that out by what we see. Okay. Then Federal Reserve officials maintain their hawkish view and were committed to getting inflation back to its 2% target. Minutes from July 26th, 27th meeting showed. Participants at the session said that for the central bank to scale back its rate hikes, inflation reports due to be released before the next meeting would need to confirm that the pace of inflation, the pace of price growth was cooling. Our policymakers have, however, constantly avoided putting exact numbers on the size of the next hike in September. The minutes also noted that as the stance of monetary policy tightening further, at some point, it will likely become appropriate to slow the pace of policy rate increases to gauge the effects of such tightening on growth and inflation. All right. The Fed has also lifted its overnight interest rates by 225 points this year to a target range of 2.25 to 2.50%. All right. So the Fed, like Benny said last night, has stuck to their hawkish stance, right? And don't see the potential for that to change at any point in the near future, at least. right? We also saw yesterday that they want to see it in that target range of 2%, 2 to 3% consistently, right? So there's some verbiage play that we want to continue to watch. All right. So overall, that's pretty much it from a fundamental perspective. The Australian jobless rate, right? Australia's seasonal adjusted unemployment dropped to a new record low of 3.4% in July of 2022 from June's 3.5% and below market forecast of 3.5% amid further recovery in the economy from the pandemic. The number of unemployed fell 20,000 to 473,900, with people looking for full-time jobs falling to 26,000, falling 26,000 to 316,700, while those part-time workers increased by 5,900. In the meantime, employment unexpectedly declined by 40,900 to 13.56 million compared to the forecast of 25,000, right? So the employed people decreased down for the first time in 9 months, as full-time employment decreased 86,900, while part-time employment increased 46,000. Participation rate fell to 66.4% compared to a consensus in June's figure, new high of 66.8. So overall, there's a mixed bag coming in on the jobs report and the unemployment report that came out yesterday for the Aussie, right? So there's a little back and forth happening. You had some increases, some decreases. But overall, the economy is still recovering, right? It has recovered from pre-pandemic level. So how that looks for the Aussie, and there's been a back and forth on the currency. And JC posted a question in the community yesterday and asking why the Aussie CAD was one that could continue to fall with the oil moving to the downside. We'll take a look at the charts on that as well. But the reason being is, from the Australian perspective, they've slowed their, they've become more dovish with their interest rate hikes, right? And they're taking everything as being data dependent. And a lot of that data is coming out to say, hey, we need to slow down on these interest rate hikes, right? For either things are improving or, right, we're moving into somewhat of a downturn or recessionary fears. So the Reserve Bank of Australia has kind of tapered their tone from what it was initially and going to a more data dependent state, as opposed to the Federal Reserve saying we're still going to move forward with this path. So that's why the Aussie CAD is different than the other Australian dollar pairs and the Canadian dollar pairs when looking at the oil comparison. So that's it from a fundamental perspective. Today we have Philly Fed Manufacturing Index. These could be important from a manufacturing perspective, looking at those numbers to see how things are coming along from a manufacturing perspective. So we'll watch out for that. And then we have FOMC member George speaking at 1:20. All right. So that's pretty much it from a fundamental perspective. Any questions there? Nope. All right, cool deal. We're going to dive into some charts. So I want to take a look at this Euro NZD because it's starting to move, and I'll look at it from a long-term perspective and come down to the current perspective. So here on the weekly, right, we'll bounce all the way back to the weekly. We see we got just shy of a 618 retracement. Okay, it's the AB boundary on the weekly time frame. It's been moving sideways pretty much in the zone here, but overall we got a just shy of a 618 retracement. Price wasn't able to break out to the bottom, came back, retested the weekly level that it broke through. Now it's trying to make its way lower, right? And we're struggling at this monthly level here. Okay. So we want to see, hey, does price continue to the upside, or do we get a turnover in price and price to continue making its way to the downside? Okay. So as we drop to the daily, right? More insight on this move up. On the daily time frame, we got a deeper retracement, right? An 8-6 retracement here. So the matching D extension on the 8-6 retracement is here just below this weekly level, right? Little ways to go, but we want to see now, do we get price to turn over and continue to the downside to get to at least this weekly support level and potentially, right, this 1.55024 level, okay? So as we move in to look to see what happened, we had price push down and break through these levels, right? We had a pretty decent consolidation area here, right? And we see price came back and retested this daily level that it broke through and came back to test this previous consolidation that it broke out of, right? So nice pullback and retest. So now we want to see, again, does price push lower and continue down, or does it give us a shallow retracement and then continue to the upside? Okay, so that's what we're looking for and we're identifying here. As we get to the 4, we see now, right? Let me go back. All right, we're zooming in on this area here. Okay, zooming in on this area here. From a Fibonacci perspective, your fibs would have got taken out on your lower time frames. So we want to zoom in here to see what's up. Okay, so it's taken from that high. This is the C on that daily time frame, right? And we ran the fibs to the downside here. So we're zooming in on this level. We broke this trend line, okay? But we're still within this 4-hour AB boundary, and we pushed right into the 618 retracement. So on 3 levels, we have some data that tells us we could still have some downward pressure coming, right? So sitting at a 618 retracement, playing around at this daily level, right, that we came back to retest, and this is that zone of consolidation that we saw from a higher time frame. So we want to see, does price turn over and make its way back down, right? That's what we want to see here. We got a 618 retracement, right, into our sweet spot on the 4-hour. So we got some opportunities there, potentially, right? So as we continue to make our way down to the 1, on the 1, we also have a deep retracement, still inside that AB boundary. None of those A's have been taken out yet, okay? None of those A's have been taken out yet, right? So what this says is if price continues to press down, we could be in for that downward movement. Now on the 1-hour, 786 retracement, right? The matching D extension is here. Whoops. Shrink that down. Matching D extension is here, right? Just inside of that weekly support and that 4-hour and daily D extension, which were below, okay? So again, more data saying, hey, we could be in for a move to the downside, okay? So based on our rules, we got a deep retracement, right? And looking at it from a 1-hour perspective, okay? We got a deep retracement. We run our trend lines through the highest point. We also got a trend line break, right? So from this perspective, right, we got a potential entry opportunity off the 1-hour time frame, looking for price to continue to the downside, okay, potentially. So now we add that, we'll take our fib, we'll copy that, drop that down to the 15-minute. We add that to the cloud, right, on the 15-minute. So look, this is our AB boundary from the 1. This is that retracement, right? So now we add all that data to the cloud and we zoom in and we see our rules met, right? We got a crossover that occurred. We got price break through the cloud. We got a cloud twist. We got the Chico span or the lagging span, right? Also broke through price. Almost breaking through the cloud, got a retracement happening, right? So we got our rules met here. So now, because this Chico span hasn't broken through the cloud yet, right, in for a little bit of a retracement. So what we could be in for here, slight pullback, right? Maybe retest your Tikason and Kitason, right? Maybe retest the cloud. And then we can look for something like that to occur. Right. So this will give us a good entry opportunity, right, to play this to the downside with that data coming from the higher time frame. Right. So this is one, keep your eyes on. We already got a nice bearish break, and now we're getting a retracement. Okay. Now we're getting a retracement. So we'll look to potentially play this to the downside for a move down. You guys follow me on this?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. Okay. 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 All right. So write that one down. Keep your eyes on it. And yeah, beautiful setup there. All right. Confirmation on all levels. Okay. So that's the Euro New Zealand. Are there any questions? No? No questions?
No questions.
All right, cool deal. Let me do something real quick. And how you can play this, right? On this retracement, you can't either enter it there, right? Understand you might be in a little bit of drawdown coming back here, or you can wait for that pullback to finish, right? Potentially coming back and retesting these support levels here, right? You see our price held at this zone, okay? And you also have your cloud, right? Kind of went sideways here, which also confirms that level of, right, which was support. Okay, now it could serve as resistance. Okay, so keep that in mind as well. So you could wait for that pullback a little bit further, and then you can either place your stop above the cloud like that, or place your stop above the high, give it a little bit more room to move. Okay, and then you price it accordingly, right? Above the high, 64 pips. Above the cloud, you're looking at 35, 37, 40 pips ish, right? And then you can either play 2-to-1 or play it off the 1 hour fib to the downside, right? And look at it from that perspective. Okay. So, oops. 1 second, everybody. All right, cool deal. So that's the Euro NZD. Then let's take a look at this NZD Swissy. NZD Swiss. It's already on the move, but let's take a look at it from a higher time frame. Take this off for a second, clean this up. And yeah, all right. So this is where we sit on this Euro Swissy. Okay, actually, we're gonna run our fib from. I think it's gonna be that high, but we'll see.
Marianne.
Bingo. Good morning.
Hey, you say Euro Swissy or?
I'm sorry, NZD Swiss.
Okay.
NZD Swiss. I apologize if I misspoke there. Okay, yep. So those got taken out. And there we go, right? So from a daily time frame perspective, this is where we sit on this NZD Swiss. Okay. AB boundary, and we're just pressing sideways here in this range. So we're at the bottom of the range, trying to press potentially to the top of the range, maybe even break out and move up to these higher levels. Okay. So sitting at a B boundary on the daily time frame. Okay. So now as we continue to move down through, drop to the 4, run our fib from the high. And here, right, this is that range that price has been playing in, but we haven't been able to break out to the upside. We haven't been able to break out to the downside. right? So we're playing in this range and we're at the bottom, pressing to the top. We got a new swing low to actually, no, we don't, right? This is the wick. This is our lowest wick here. So we don't have a swing low just yet, but price is trying to turn over and press up. Okay. Trying to press over and press up, coming to the top of the range. So we can even take this out from a 4-hour perspective and just look at this as a range play opportunity. Okay. So as we drop to the 1 and we look at it, right? And we're looking at this range that we're playing in, like so, right? We can now say, okay, bottom of the range, moving to the top of the range, and we can look at the fib on the 1 to see where we fall, just shy of the D extension, right? Weekly support, and we're turning over, trying to press back to the upside. Okay, so not able to fully break out. We got a nice retracement that's happening. So as we drop down to the 15, right? As we drop down to the 15, fibs get taken out, run them again from there to there. We see shallow retracement, 118, 127 zone, and price is starting to push to the upside. Okay, so 15-minute fib, we got an 80-20 scenario. Okay, so add the cloud on to see where we sit. And this is what we got. We got that cloud break, we got the twist, we got the lagging span breaking through price and the cloud, right? And we got our Kumo twist. So now what we want to see is pullback, retracement, right? And then see if we can get long and get price continue to move to the upside here. Okay. So this is one to watch. If you get a nice retracement here, you can also run a sub fib off the low, right? Give you some targets on that retracement. Would love to see price come back and retest the cloud, come back into the zone, right? If we get that, right, that'll give us a good opportunity to get long and look at, right, price coming up to at least this extension here on this 15-minute sub fib at 61.95. Okay, so this one is already on the move. If we get a pullback here, right, we can play that to the upside for that continued retracement off of this capital fib on the 15. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Tracking me. All right. Cool deal. So keep this one on your radar as well. Okay. Keep that one on your radar as well. Okay. Now let's hop over to Euro Aussie. Another one been covered last night. Right. So Euro Aussie is on the move to the downside, but we want to take a look at a few things, right? We're playing around in this area. We had price break through this daily level, come back and retest that level, right? So we want to see, does this daily level hold, and do we get price to turn over and push to the upside? Okay. So as we continue to walk down through, right, yesterday, let's go to the 1 real quick. Yesterday, we played this crown. We had this crown pattern formation that played out, that D extension got achieved. And then we got this consolidation, right? We got this consolidation here. And that was from a 1-hour perspective. Okay. Benny identified last night, right? This potential crown action here. Okay. On the 4-hour time frame, price took out that high, the previous high, broke through your trend line. Then we got this pullback to this daily level. Okay. Pull back to the daily level. Now we want to see, do we get price to turn over and push back to the upside? Okay. So we got potential crown action happening here on the Euro Aussie on the 4-hour. Okay. As we get to the 1 and look at this again, right? This is that action. Okay. So we'll take this 1 hour out. It's completed. So, and now we're looking at it from a larger perspective here. Okay. So we got this retest of that daily level. We're already getting a reaction there. Okay. So as we drop down to the 15 and look at the cloud, right? Benny was looking at here, this move to the downside, which you got, breaking the cloud, price pushed 73 pips, right? To that daily level. Now we're getting this push back to the upside. So a couple ways you can look at this, right? You can wait on a pullback on the lower time frame, right? to get you a lower price to play this back to the upside off of the crown pattern, off the 4 hour, and just playing this move here, placing your stop below the low. Okay. You can do it down on the 15 also. Place your stop below this level of support, right? We know this is a daily level here, right? On the 15 minutes, you got to swing low to form. You can place your stop below this low here, right? And then play this to the upside off of the crown action. Okay. That crown fib look like this. Okay. Got shallow retracement, so price could push right into this 118 and 127 zone, potentially give us a deeper reaction, or we could see price break. So we'll have to watch that once price gets there. So that's one way you can play this, is just surely play the crown pattern and just move to the upside. Okay. The other way is being patient, waiting on, because you could potentially get some sideways movement here, retest of the cloud, come back down, right? So wait on this cloud to turn back over and wait on price to break back above the cloud and give us our confirmations from a cloud perspective, right? So two ways you can look at playing this, your choice. But that'll give you some additional confirmation if you wait on the cloud, get the twist, Tkinson and Kijison across, push back above price along with your lagging span and price, right? That could give you some additional confirmation of a break to the upside and price to start to move in that direction. So it's your choice on how you want to play this. But those are the two options that I see here on how we can play that from an entry perspective and looking for that to move to the upside. Do those options make sense?
Yes.
Yes.
Any questions on those?
Hey, Ryan, how you doing?
Good. How about yourself, man?
Oh man, every day is a wonderful day. Thank you for asking.
Absolutely.
So I love the way you brought two ways to play this. Now my question is, now I'm thinking since the introduction of the cloud, the way I'm going to add this to my trading rules, and I'm going to be waiting for all the confirmations from the cloud and then slap a fib on that thing. So trading it this way, let's just say from where it's at now without the cloud going to the upside right now, what are the additional confirmations for going at it this way?
Are you talking about playing the crown pattern when you say this way?
Playing the crown pattern, yes.
Gotcha. Yeah. So if you're looking at it from a 15-minute time frame perspective, right, you got your swing low to form here, right? And that swing low, for me, if I'm playing it off the 15-minute, that would have been my confirmation. And you could also run a trend line down like so, right? Your inner trend line would have got broken there off this 15-minute move, like so, right? So confirmation, retest of that daily level, right? Looking at surely you have break and retest traders, right? Where price breaks through a key level. So this was that key level there. Price came back and retest, and you got a strong reaction to it, right? So this is a confirmation that level is held. Some people enter this trade right there and allow it to go, placing a stop below the low. Okay. So looking at it from a break and retest perspective, that's a little bit of confirmation there. Okay. So that's the second piece. So you got trend line break on your lower time frame. You got that retest on your 1 hour time frame. If you wanted to, right, you could run a sub fib off the high, and you got AB boundary here, and this is your retracement that's happening, right? So this is a confirmation of that support level and price moving to the upside. The other piece you can wait on, right, is wait to see if you get a pullback to get a lower price, right? Because you could get a pullback here, come back and retest some of these lower levels, take back some of this move, right? So you could get a pullback here, and you can be patient and wait on this outer trend line to get broken, right? So I don't want to take that aggressive inner trend line off the 15. I want this trend line to get broken. Beautiful. So just wait for that trend line to get broken in a bullish fashion, right? And seeing that, you could get a pullback, and then you could get price to push and break that trend line there, right? If this candle doesn't break it. So those are different ways you can look at it, right? Surely from the retest perspective and that crown formation, right? Because on the crown, remember, right, you have, right, your left tip, your center tip, and then price generally comes back to a level of support for C, your right tip, and then it goes. So that could also be your confirmation there, the retest of that support level, right? So those are some different confirmation points that you could add into that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. And then also I noticed when you were down at the 15, and you were talking about it coming down for a lower price, it retracing back for a lower price and then going back up.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed, well, one thing that I've been keeping in mind and that you guys really push well is making sure that you keep the higher time frames in mind, because once that happens, because that's a sub fib still.
Correct.
And that A can just get swallowed quickly. So
Yep, it definitely could. So keeping that in mind, right, as you come back and look, again, this is what you're looking at from a larger perspective. And this is the level that price, if you just look at it, right, you zoom out, this is the level that price is played at, right? Broke through, came back above, consolidated at, broke through, came back above, right? Broke through, came back above. So this level, prices gravitated to and struggled at multiple times as you just look back in time, right? So that's also a key for you to say, okay, price has been here and it reacts at this level, right? So, and then you see here, right? Look, from a 4-hour perspective, that's a strong reaction if this candle closes up like that. Could not, but, right, you're getting a reaction here. Price hit that level and it's pressing away, right? So you're seeing reactions consistently at this level. So that is another piece to say this level could potentially hold, right? And then you could also wait on the 1-hour time frame, right? Wait 2 more hours, get 2 candles to close to the right. That'll give you your 1-hour support, right? More confirmation of this right tip starting to form. See? Right?
Yeah.
And that would also kind of play into, right, waiting on these confirmations on the cloud, right? 2 hours, you'll have what, 8 15-minute candles, right? So you'll see those candles start to form and you'll see some movements in the cloud and in your Tekinson and your Kijinson, right? And in your lagging span. So you'll see how these lines start to move and see how it starts to form in to see if you get, right, some of those confirmations start to come through.
I see.
Make sense?
Yep. So you kind of got to stick to these charts all day if you're looking for an entry on certain.
On the lower time frames, yes. If you're looking to trade on the lower time frames, and we've talked about this a lot in the past, but if you want to trade on lower time frames, you gotta have time to look at the charts. That's why when you hear us talk about scalping, right, and the lifestyle of a trader, you gotta have time to sit here and watch this thing. If you're trying to scalp, right, it takes a lot of time, and that's one of the reasons that we lean towards the swing trading side of things, because we have busy lives, right? Wives, family, job, you know what I mean? So we're not able to sit and look at the charts all day long. So we lean towards, and another reason that the higher time frame analysis is so important as well is you can still, and this is what makes the methodology so amazing, is You can scalp with the same thought process. And if you understand the higher time frame and where price could be headed, you could be scalping in that direction. So as you enter this potential scalp, right, looking at it from a 15-minute or even a 5-minute time frame, you can say, okay, price is potentially going in this direction. I'm looking for buying opportunities on this Euro Aussie. Price gets to the support level. I'm going to take my trade and let it go, understanding that price could still be headed up. So your scalp could turn into, right, an intraday or a swing trade, right? So the methodology allows you to play both sides of the game if that fits into your personality and if you write it into your rules. Make sense?
Yes. Yes.
So, yeah. So depending on your lifestyle, and the type of trader you want to be, yeah, you could spend quite a bit of time on these charts for sure.
Okay. Yeah, I'm already starting to get addicted to the charts.
It's easy to do, man. Once you really dive in and you have a clear view of why you're doing this and what your goals are, you definitely can, right? And you really dig in. And it's just like with anything that you desire to be great at. You have to be willing to put in that time and fall in, like Benny says all the time, fall in love with the process, right? Once you fall in love with the process, you really start to see this thing differently. You really start to see it differently. Yeah.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. I find myself running out of ink and pads now. So
Hey, that's a good thing, man. That's a good thing.
yes, it is. Thank you for explaining that. I really appreciate it.
Ain't no
Hey,
doubt, bro.
Ryan.
Miss Brandy, what's happening?
You'll go back to Euro, AUD, the 15-minute chart.
15, yes, ma'am.
So I know you drew your trend line, but for the cloud, you can also use the Tenkan and the
Your Tinkin
cages.
Yep.
Yeah, as the I guess as the trend lines, because it looked like it broke, right?
Yep,
Did it?
you absolutely could. It broke your Tinkin. Yep, it broke that there, and now we're getting a retest. We'll see if that pulls down even further. But yep, you can use those. As Benny talked about, right? Those can act as your more flexible trend lines, right? But
Yeah.
absolutely, you're absolutely correct.
Okay.
Man, that's a good eye.
Great eye. Great eye. Great eye.
Training it. I'm training it.
Oh, wait, thank you.
Yep. Awesome. Y'all got it, man. Y'all got it, dude. Any other questions on this Euro Aussie? No? Yeah, Joy. All right. So that's the Euro Aussie. Benny posted the pound Swissy. Let's go take a look at that real quick. So looking at that one, multiple directions. And these Swiss pairs are kind of starting to do some similar things, right? So let's zoom all the way back. Zoom all the way back to the daily. Clean this up a bit. So look, and we looked at this before, right? From a daily perspective. Is that right? Hold on. Let me make sure. I believe that's it, but we're going to make sure. Run it off the high. From a daily perspective, this is where we sit, right? AB boundary. Take the cloud off for a second. Shallow retracement, price pushed down. Couldn't quite get to that 118 level. And we got price to turn over. Okay. Now we got a little bit of a sideways push as we move through that trend line, right? We're retesting this daily resistance level now. Okay. Excuse me. So that's a daily look, right? Could be in for move to the upside. Strong bullish move here off the daily. So let's drop down to the 4. Go back. We drop down to the 4. We're going to run our fib off of this point here, which is in your B boundary area. I mean, your A boundary off of your daily, right? So come back and we'll run our fib, yeah, off of this high, like so, right? And as we do that, we got this new B boundary that formed on the 4 hour, right? You got this new B boundary that formed on the 4 hour. We had price to pull up, created a swing high, and pulled back, right? So when you talk about your ABCD waves, right? Right? A, B, actually, that would have been your B. Let's go back. You had a swing high here, 2 to the right, 2 to the left. So A, B, shallow retracement, price pushed up. This is your C, and now you're extending to your D, right? So you have this pullback, retest, right? And if you take this off now, you had on the lower time frames, you had resistance here, right? This blue line was my entry, but you had resistance here, okay? Had resistance. And what did price do? It broke it, came back and retested it and pushed, okay? So now we're looking at, all right, what do we have potentially forming on the lower time frames? We're starting to make this move. We haven't gotten to the 382 on the 4 yet. Price pushed down, gave us a push up. So let's drop down to the 1. Oops. Let's drop down to the 1. On your 1 hour now, come back to this high. I think I got to run it off the end. Yep. So come over to the end. Last high here. Might have one more. There we go. Okay. So on your 1 hour, this is your look. Right? You got a 50% retracement, but we know the higher time frames control the lower time frames. Not able to fully break out and get to that D extension, created that swing low, and now we're starting to push to the upside. Okay. Now we're starting to push to the upside. So, all right, bang, we got this pullback, we got to push up. Now price is starting to, strong impulsive move here. Price is starting to pull back a little bit. So we can drop down to lower time frame on that 15 minutes. Say, okay, are we getting a retracement to occur here? Okay. This will drop to the fib. Well, 2 things. You can run a sub fib off of this low, right? And this is your look on the sub fib. 618 retracement, just shy of that 786 level, right? Pushed up. Now you're getting a retracement. So we drop down to the 15. Here, drop down to the 15, and we look at this, right? Because we know from the higher time frames, looking at price to potentially continue to the upside, right? So we drop the cloud on, and we see we had the retracement, right? Came back to previous resistance, and then we got cloud break, GK crossover, Kumo twist, Chico span breakthrough, right? So this one has already moved to the upside. So now this is that gap that Benny talks about, right? Brandon just gave us the heads up on the previous pair, right? Potentially playing in this gap now. So we could potentially get pullback, right? To your Kijinsen or to your cloud. And then we can look for an opportunity, if you're already in this to the upside, to enter this to the upside, right? Push, pullback, continuation. Does that make sense? Make sense? You guys following me? Similar to the others that have already started moving, looking at some retracements to then enter these to the upside. Okay. That's your AB boundary there on the sub fib on the 15th. Get you a nice little pullback to the cloud, and then look for that move up. Okay. Questions on this pound Swissy? No?
No.
All right, cool deal. That's your pound Swiss. Let's what's the other one I wanted to take a look at?
Hey, Ryan,
Yes, ma'am.
would you be able to look at GU?
Yeah, I can take a look at it for sure. Take a look at this that Euro Swiss that we talked about yesterday. I want to take a look at that also. GU. Man, oh man, oh man. So before I take a look at that, let's take a look at the dollar, right? So we can get some comparison here. Dollar index, right? This is that monthly level that we've been playing at. Haven't really been able to push through, right? Haven't really been able to push through. We pushed up yesterday, and this is on the 4-hour, right? We got this sideways push, and now we're pushing back down. Okay, we didn't quite get to a 382 off this sub fib to the upside, and we're kind of hovering right now, getting a little bit of a retracement. So we want to see on this DXY, do we get a deeper retracement to occur, right? Or do we continue to get this consolidation and sideways push, and then ultimately get price to push to the upside and close above? Okay, so that's something to watch, pay attention to. We do have a small head and shoulder pattern here, right? And so this could potentially be seen as a retest of the neckline, and then we'll see if we get a continuation. So that's something to watch. I just noticed that, right? So that's something to watch. If you get price to turn over and push to the upside, we could be in for more bullish movement on the dollar. So keep that in mental note, right? As you look at dollar pairs, mental note. If this turns over and pushes up, we can see dollar pairs respond in favor of the dollar there. Okay. If it doesn't, continue to press down, then right, the opposite could be true. Okay. So as we go to this pound dollar, right? Overall, the long push sideways, right? Long push sideways. Okay. Haven't gotten to 382 on this daily time frame, right? And we've just been hovering. And we've been looking at like, okay, we could at some point be headed down to this low before we get another push to the upside, give a double bottom. Okay. So a couple things we can do, right? We know we're in a long push, so we can run our daily fib off of this last high, see where we fall, and that comes in here. Right. We had this new AB boundary, price pushed up, came back down, and now we're just hovering, right? Just hovering, and been hovering in this range for quite some time, not able to break out in either direction. Okay. The daily support is tough. It's similar to that monthly support on the DXY, right? Similar to that. And you got a similar inverse movement, right? You had a W look on that DXY, and you got this little M look here on the GU. Okay. So we want to see, does price break below, continue down? Do we get another push to the trend line here and a reaction? Or do we get a push to the trend line and break for a deeper retracement, right? Those are the things that I'm looking for here to see what occurs, okay? So as we get down to the 4, look at this a little more closely. This is our fib on the 4, right? And this is that sideways push. We got a 618 retracement off the 4. Beautiful. This is that sideways push, okay? And we just literally have indecision here, right? Tons of indecision. Okay. So that's what we're waiting on to see, right? What happens at this level, right? There's clearly there's a fight happening between the bulls and the bears at this daily level that price can't run away from, right? Got some equilibrium. So we drop down to the 1 and we look at it from a fib perspective. It's still choppy as all get out, right? You got deep retracement here, 8-6 level. Price is trying to push up and give us a move back to the upside. It's trying to, but we'll see. This support level is held, right? That level is held. Price can't close below it. We got that push up. So it's really a bunch of sideways movement right now. Okay. I was in this to the downside. I closed out my trade, and now I'm looking to see what's happening. So if you want to drop down to the 15 and take a look at this, right? Couple options. Okay. First, right? Run your fib from the high. Bang. It's still sideways with that too, right? There's tons of indecision here. If you want to play it off the cloud, you can drop the cloud on, see if your rules are met. And this is what you have from a cloud perspective. It's in between. Personally, I'm not touching it because it's been too choppy as of late. We got this push down, and now we got another sideways push. So I want to see some confirmation and some decisive moves. If you want to play this off the 15, by all means, right? You absolutely can. I just say play it with caution because we have tons of indecision happening, right? This is all just sideways movement. So I'd rather play a cleaner move than this one, because this could move in either direction as it stands right now, because we have this daily level here that's just bouncing us back and forth. So that'll be up to you on how you play that.
No, I was indecisive, so I didn't touch it because I seen what you seen on the dollar. What I started doing was looking at the dollar before I looked at my my currency pairs, and I was shaky on it. It looked good, but
yeah, dollar gives you some perspective, but it's also right if that inverse head and shoulders pattern plays out, right, we could get that push. It's just this one in EU, they've been so back and forth as of late. So we had a nice clean move off the high, right? We had a nice clean move here to the downside, but now we're just pushing sideways. So yeah, I'm uncertain right now. If we get your Tinkinson and Nikitinson to breakthrough price and this lagging span to push through the cloud, that might give me some confirmation of this move to the upside, but I'm sitting tight. Ultimately, I'm long-term, I'm short on this, right? And I'd really love another high price so that I can get short again, right? Because I took this move to the downside here. I'd love for another high price so I can get short again, but I don't know if I'll get it or not. I don't know. So that's where I sit. It's too much indecision for me right now. Too much. JC said, when cross correlating, do we follow the same time frames or look at higher time frames compared to the parent currency? It's more about the overall movement, in my opinion. Like on your dollar, your dollar crosses, right? If your dollar moves to the upside, right? If your DXY moves to the upside, generally those are going to be moving like your euro dollar, your Aussie dollar, your pound dollar, your NZD dollar are going to be moving in the opposite direction if the dollar is moving up, right? If the dollar is moving down, then those pairs will be moving against the dollar, which would be up for those where the dollar is the counter currency, right? So I'm looking at the overall direction of the market. And you have, there's sites out there that give you the percentage of correlation, right? The euro dollar is the pair that has the closest inverse correlation, right? And then your dollar Swiss has the closest correlation, right? Meaning it looks almost the same, right? So it's tough to do it. And I don't do correlations a lot, like I said, just as far as the specific timing and all that. What I'm looking at is the overall direction is more what I look at and what I pay attention to, as opposed to lining things up with those direct correlations and such. So that's my opinion on it. That's my opinion on it. I don't know if that helps, but I hope it does. Cool. Yeah, then maybe the news will move it. We'll see. We'll see what happens there. Okay. Any other questions on this pound dollar? No. Reese, you got a question, bro? Oh, I'll take that as a no. All right, cool deal. So that's a pound dollar. We'll take a look at the euro dollar, and then the Aussie dollar, and then there's euro Swiss. Aussie dollar. So overall, this thing's been moving down. All right. All good. Been moving down. And we said we wanted to see, does price break back below this trend line? Right. And this is that long-term trend line that we broke through the daily time frame, pushed way up into that 618 retracement level, broke that trend line, but we closed back below it, right? Nice bearish candle, closed back below. Now we're coming back to retest it, right? In this daily level that we're continuing to play at, right? So go down to the 4 and we'll look at our fibs here, right? Now we're sitting at a deep retracement here, okay, off this 4-hour fib. But again, we broke back below this trend line. We're coming back to retest it. And then we have this daily resistance level here as well. So it's surely a question of, does this level hold? And if it does, we could be in for, we could be in for more bearish movement here, right? If price breaks back above this trend line and closes above this daily resistance level, right, we could be in for price pushing back to the upside. Okay. So from a higher time frame perspective, we're playing at some pretty key resistance levels that we want to see if they hold or not. Okay. Units to the upside, Brandy, or short? Short. Okay. Yeah. I'm short too. I'm holding short from the top of this. 710218. All right, so up here in this range somewhere. But yeah, I'm short on this too overall. 71009. Beautiful. Same range. Somewhere there. Awesome. Great work. Then we'll look at it on the lower time frame to see what those entries look like. But that's what we're looking at, right? So if these levels hold, we could be in for price to come down and take out this A on the 4, right? As we get to this next daily level of support. And then we want to see, do we break below that to continue moving to the downside off of that daily fib? Remember, 618 retracement, right? We could be in for more downward movement off that daily fib. Okay. So as we get down to the 1, similar look as the 4, right? Similar look as the 4, just a little bit more detail. Okay. So we'll bring that back to that level. Bang. Okay, don't want to cut off any of those wicks. I believe that's right. Let's see. There. Let me make sure I drop this down accurately. There we go. And that's where we sit, right? 8-6 retracement. Price is trying to push to the upside. We'll see. We'll see if we're able to really break above that and and push higher. Again, my bias is short on dollar pairs overall. So we'll see. We'll see how this plays out, right? But I'm looking to continue to hold my short position on this. Even if we get a retracement back up into this consolidation zone, my stop is just above this high. I've moved it into profit. So even if we do get a break above, we still have other levels of resistance that would have to break through to continue up higher. So, but I'm looking to really see if this level holds, right? I'm looking forward to it holding for that push to the downside. So we'll see. We'll see. But you're sitting at some key resistance right now that price is trying to decide what it's going to do. Now, if you bring this down to the 15, this is what you do have, right? Price did break above the cloud, right? And you have your Tingerson, your Kijinson. You actually have your Kijinson moving sideways here, right? Through the cloud. You have your Teganson pressing up, right? And at price currently. So it's creating this gap that Benny talks about. So with that gap, Benny said you could be in for a price to turn over and press down if it stays below that Teganson. Okay. So we'll see, right? We got some indecision happening. It's ultimately what it is. We got a bullish cloud ahead, right? But it's also pushing sideways, right? And you got your Kijinson pushing sideways as well. So got some indecision even in this cloud formation here, right? But as we saw on the DXY, you got that indecision there as well. Okay. So we're waiting to see on how this plays out. If you get a break above this daily level, like I said, we could be in for more movement to the upside. If we stay below, right, we'll look for price to continue to the downside. So those are your if-then statements on this Aussie dollar. Questions? You guys follow me? Is that making sense?
Yes, it's like you're checking all the boxes, making sure that, in addition to the cloud, if your structure.
Bingo, right? That's where your higher time frame analysis comes in. And again, if it's indecisive, don't touch it. There's other setups out there, right? Other setups out there. So, cool deal. All right. Take a look at this Euro Swissy that we looked at yesterday, sitting at this key level, right? Price was down here at this key monthly support, right? Trying to create swing low on the daily, but key level that we're looking at, right? And we've seen these Swiss pairs all making similar moves, right? All at key levels. I think it was Mary brought it up last night, right? Swiss pairs being at key levels, right? So as we continue to move through this thing and look at it, this is the 4, right? We saw the swing happen. We saw that happen yesterday. And now we're trying to get this push, right? We're sitting at this daily level, retesting the level that it just broke through here. We want to see, do we get a break back above that in a continuation? Or do we see a little bit of consolidation happen here? Okay, that could also occur. But we did break a key trend line on the 4, right? Did get a push. So we want to see how the market responds here. But this is a key level that we see we had some big money sitting at because we're starting to get a move to the upside. Okay. So as we drop to the 1, I'll take that off. As we drop to the 1, okay. This is the scenario on the 1. Okay. This is a scenario on the 1. Shallow retracement at 118 and 127 zone, that key monthly support level. And as we zoom in on this, we also identified ground pattern, all right, which hasn't completed yet. So looking for a break of this daily level to continue up to at least this 97274 zone. Okay. You got a 38.2 retracement off of that harmonic fib there, right? We didn't get as deep of a retracement to retest that trend line as I would have liked, but price starting to push to the upside. Okay. Price starting to push to the upside. This will drop down to the 15. You see, you got everything was kind of moving through price here, right? You got a twist to the upside. You got your Tinkets and your Kijitsu that broke above the cloud and it's below price. And you got your Chico span that's also above the cloud and above price. Okay. So we'll see if we break above this level, right? You had your cross, you had your cloud twist, Tekinson above, right? If we break above this level, we could see that thing push higher, okay? If it does not, we could see some bouncing back and forth, and you'll see this cloud ultimately start to move through price like it did here, okay? So we could, there is potential for some sideways movement here, right? Because this is a key level, very key level. So keep that in mind as we're looking at this, okay? So those are the fibs coming down. Those got taken out. What does the fib look like to the upside on the 15? Okay. And that plays out similarly too, right? You got a 50% retracement, matching the extension is here, similar to that harmonic fib, the extension, right? So we got some confirmation here. Just looking for price to make its decision whenever it does to move in that direction, right? So that's what we're looking at on this Euro Swiss consolidation. Like I said, wait to see if we get a nice break of that, of the daily level, potentially get a retest and continuation if that's what it's going to do. Or do we get, right, if you get a nice pullback back to the zone, right, that'll also be a beautiful opportunity to look for buying setups, right? So the cloud can twist and push back down with price if it does do this, right? And then see if we get a nice clean reversal out of it. Okay. So be patient on this one. If you're not in it, just watch it. If we're able to get this deep retracement here, that'd be a beautiful opportunity for us to look at it. Or if price gives us a strong bullish move to the upside, look for a pullback and a retest, and then that continuation up. Follow me there?
Yep,
No,
yep.
maybe? Cool. All right, cool deal. So that's the Euro Swiss, Euro dollar. Same as those other Euro pairs, right? Literally sideways. All right. It's been sideways for quite some time. We got to push to the 382, and we got to turnover, and we got to swing high, right? Trying to give a little bit of a retracement off this bearish action here. But it's just sideways. So if we drop down to the 4, see it in a little bit more detail. You got that trend line break, press down. Like that, right? So you got your trend line breaks and price press down, okay, out of that 382 zone. Now trying to pull back a little bit, right? So we could be in for a retracement to occur. Okay, we'll take these trend lines out since they've served their purpose. And now for me, I'm looking for a high price to get short again, right? That's what I'm looking for in this, a high price to get short again. I'm overall short on, I'm bullish on the dollar. So I'm looking for all these dollar pairs to press to the downside at some point, right? It's just a matter of waiting for some point to show up, okay? So as we drop down to the 1, this is what you see. It's literally just a sideways push. Just a sideways push, okay? Drop down to the 15, you see the cloud is moving straight through price, right? Moving straight through price. So I let it move straight through price and I'd sit and just watch. Okay, I'd sit and just watch. So that's where I am on the euro dollar, is no opportunity yet, right? Waiting for it to decide. Said I'd love to see a high price to be able to get short. You don't have everything met here from a cloud perspective. You're starting to get a twist. You got your lagging span to push through, but your TK, you did get a TK crossover, but it hasn't broken through the cloud either. So I'm sitting and waiting because we got all this happening, right? All this happened. I want a clean move on that. So I say no trade here. If you find something that you want to trade, by all means, but I'm sitting tight, right? You could potentially play a retracement off of this if you're searching for something. I wouldn't suggest searching for it, but we did have this opportunity, right, that we played earlier in the week, and then we just pushed sideways. So that opportunity is come and gone, and now we just wait to see what price wants to do, to give us an indication on what we can then do next. All right. So
Thank you.
you're very welcome. Very welcome. Gold. Let's see. Let's see. Gold. You guys know I don't trade this one very much, but let's see what we got. We'll take this off. The higher time frame. Let's see. Held at that level like we thought. Let's see. Interesting. So got a 382 off the daily, right? Retested this B boundary level, right? Support. Might need to run through a full markup on this. Let's do it. Let's clean this out and we'll walk through it step by step. Let's do that. Let's go back to the monthly. And let's see. Right there, go black. All-time high there. We got monthly support here. So smart support, smart resistance. All right, we got our all-time low down there. Okay. So resistance there. Support there. I'm just going to do one level here. We'll do the lowest. We'll get the other one on the lower time frame. Then we got support there. Okay. This one. So, okay. So that's a monthly support and resistance. Go to the weekly. All right. Resistance here. Resistance here. Resistance here. It's tight. Support there. Really strong cluster of support right there. Okay. And we got support there. Okay. So that's looking at from a weekly time frame. We'll drop to the daily and do the same thing. Change this to red. Resistance. 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 There we go. Haven't quite gotten back to that daily support yet. Keep that in mind. And there we go, right? We got our levels in. So now, clean this up. now let's look at it, right? We got some highs there. We got a ton of back and forth. So we're going to run our fib from the high of this range, right? Coming down to the bottom of the range. Bang. Okay. So that's where we sit, right? 382 price pressed down, wasn't able to break through this cluster, right? This is a strong zone here. That price is going to struggle to break through. And we're getting a pullback now. See if price continues to the upside there, right? See what it does in this new range. That's a daily look at it, right? Trying to decide what's going to happen. Take that off, we drop to the 4. Run the fib from the same high. Okay. Here we are on the 4. We got a 50% retracement, ran right back into that daily resistance level. Okay. And you see that served as support there, served as support there, served as support here. Served as resistance there, right? So ran into that level. We got price to turnover and press down. So 50% retracement on the 4. Now it's a question of, do we continue to the downside and start to break through some of these other support levels? Okay. So for a little bit of confluence on the 4, we'll run a sub fib just to see where price is. And we had a new fresh AB boundary there, right? We talk about confluence and things happening, right? And we say when you get a new AB boundary at daily, weekly, monthly levels of support or resistance, you get reactions, right? A high percentage of the time. And this is an example of that, right? This is a resistance level, was support, was resistance. You had a sub fib D extension complete. You had a new swing high form at that level, right? And then you got a turnover, and you're in a key zone off of your capital AB boundary, right? So you got a sub fib AB boundary, just shy of a 618 retracement. It all comes into alignment there, and you got a nice reaction here. So now the question is, off of this sub fib to the upside, right? It's a question of, is price going to continue to the upside, right? And move to the top of this overall range, right? Remember, we got this range happening here. Okay, we got this range happening here. We push to the bottom of the range. Now, are we going to make our way back to the top of the range? Okay, so that's the question here as you dive into the details. Is price going to turn over and press to the upside, right? Or is it going to continue down? Okay, so here we got 786, just shy of an 86 retracement, right? Does price press to the upside and get us to this matching extension on the sub fib of this 1.18? Okay, that's the question. We'll see. All right. So as we dive down to the 1, we'll take this out. Keep that in mind. Right. Overall range, potential for this to push back to the upside if price turns over. If it does not, we could continue barreling down and get to the D extension off the 4. Okay. Does it drop to the 1? Look at this from a couple perspectives. All right, we'll run our fib from the high to see where it gets taken out. And it's still in play. But here on the 1, similar to that 4-hour, right? 50% retracement, that daily level came into play. So you got a few points of confirmation that says, hey, we could be in for more down movement, maybe just a slight retracement before that occurs. Okay. So, right. So now we got price pushing to the upside here now in a retracement. Previous consolidation, price is coming back, potentially retest that consolidation zone, right? Before we get another move to the downside. So run a sub fib here to see, kind of similar look as that 4-hour, right? Same zone, same deal, okay? So we could be in for a retracement and then a continuation to the downside there, okay? Overall, my bias on this would be bearish, coming from the higher time frames down. that's what it looks like, right? We could be in for some downward movement. We could also still play in this range for a little bit. Okay. But we could be, like I said, we could be in for a retracement of a higher price before we get that continuation down. Okay. So that's from a 1 hour perspective. If we look at the sub fib off of the current C, right? You got this action here, which kind of lends toward, right, a higher price, right? Potentially, you did get some wicks come up to that 38.2, but we could be in for, right, price to push up something like this, and then give us a retracement out of that back to the downside. Okay, so we shall see there. That's my overall bias. I'm looking for short opportunities on this. If I was trading this, I don't trade gold, but if I was, I'd be looking for a high price to then get short overall, based on the higher time frames coming down to the 1. You drop to the 15, you probably got a cloud break off that 15. Let's see. Yep. So you got a cloud break there. Kumo twist. Kingston and Kijisen cross, pushing up, break the cloud on your lagging span. So that also gives us a little bit of insight. We could be in for, right, more of a push to the upside. So that's what I'd be looking for. I'd be looking for a high price here, and then be looking for short opportunities once we get up into the zone. That's my overall thoughts on gold currently. Questions? You guys see how I brought everything together in that multi-time frame analysis, including the cloud?
Yeah, that was good. I think, and then also thinking about where the dollar is. So
Yeah. Yep.
I had an aha moment today. I think before I used to just, okay, we have the 786, the pullbacks and things like that. But now, like, my mind is just trained to, okay, do I have all these confirmations before I enter the trades? By looking at even your support, your resistance, so sounds good. Thank you.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome. Glad to hear it. Awesome. Glad, JC. Good deal. Good deal. I love it. So that's gold. That's gold. Any other questions? Thoughts? Any questions on anything that we covered today? Keep your eyes on this CAD yen. Cool. Keep your eyes on this CAD yen, right? Shallow retracement at 118, 127 zone. We got this bearish push here, right? But keep your eyes on this for a move to the downside. You got your cloud happening here. If we get a break below the cloud and we get this crossover to happen, right? We already got the lagging span breaking through the cloud, which needed to break through price. So if we get our confirmations on this, along with this Kumo twist back to the downside, right, we might have an opportunity to play this 80-20, right? This is our 1 hour fib here. Might have an opportunity to play this to the downside. So keep your eyes on that one too. Eyes on that one. And the Swiss yen. We got this break below. Got that break below the cloud, right? Came back and retested a couple times. This one's already trying to move, right? I know Benny looked at this last night. As Mary had us take a look. Already on the move. Hopefully some of you are in this already, right? We could be in for that move to continue to the downside there. Okay. yeah, done that for sure. Crossing the road, right? Look to the left, look at that lagging span, look to the right, see that Kumo twist. And then, what's right in front of you? You got the TK crossover, you got price breaking through the cloud. Absolutely. That's a good reference. That's a good reference. All right. So keep your eyes on those. The Aussie yen is still playing back and forth, right? But this is that crown pattern that we looked at. It's that crown pattern that we looked at, right? Price pushed back up. Now we're coming back down. Okay. So keep your eyes peeled to those. Those yen crosses are definitely interesting. They're bouncing back and forth, but we could have some opportunities coming that allow us to play those a little bit different. All right. Questions on anything that we covered before we wrap this thing up? Done this in the sell on AJ. Beautiful. Beautiful. Great work. Great work. Oh, all right. Cool deal. Well, we're going to wrap this thing up, good people. Appreciate you guys hanging in there with me for a little longer today. We have some extra time. So, Ben will be back with us tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the Asian session. Until then, you guys have an awesome day.
Great session. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Peace.
Thank you, man.